Sal Benz.
Live when the mic snap.
Justin.
In the cut, bring the fight back. Windy City talk, turn it down, that's that. Welcome to the show, it's Bulls on Tap. Bulls on tap, pull it up, press play. Chi-Town talk, we can run it all day. From the tip-off buzz to the post-game rap. If you rock with the Bulls, you rock with Bulls on Tap.
What's up, Bulls Nation? We got another episode of Bulls on Tap coming to you live here. My name's Justin, a.k.a. J Talks Hoops. I'm joined by my co-host, Sal Bass of Horns Over Hoops. How's it going, Sal?
Good, man. Good to be back. I missed the last two recordings, so I've been getting the itch to come back. But you've been doing a phenomenal job of holding the fort down without me, though, dude. Hopefully, I don't damper your mojo coming back, man. I hope.
No, man, I'm happy to have you coming back. I feel like Kobe when Shaq would miss a couple games, you know, Kobe kind of took over a little bit, but then when Shaq would come back, you could tell the weight was lifted off his shoulders. So happy to have you back, man. It's going to be a good show. We got a guest today. It's a guest I'm very excited about, somebody who knows the Chicago Bulls in and out. Joel Lorenzi from The Athletic. He's on the Bulls beat this year. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, appreciate you being here, Joel. Thank you for taking time out of your day to hop on a Bulls podcast. No matter what condition they are right now, I mean, we're kind of just limping through the remainder of the season. So anytime that anyone wants to join us and talk some Bull, that's incredible. Joel, let's get started out here right hot out of the gate and just say, what got you into covering basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just always around the game. So I'm from Chicago. I grew up on the west side. I went to Whitney Young High School, and at the time I was there, like I was a freshman. Jahlil Okafor was a senior. So like since a kid, like I always knew like high level basketball. Like I was around pros since a kid. I went to Mizzou with Michael Porter Jr. Fresh out of college, I interned in Houston and Indy. I was in Indy when the Pacers traded for Halliburton. I was in Houston the year they drafted Jabari Smith. Like I've kind of always been exposed to basketball, and I think you know, my career ended short just because I was short. I had like a growth spurt like when it didn't matter. But you know, like all my friends went on to play college hoop. Like it was just, even if I didn't want to be around the game, like it was kind of forced upon me. Like there was a good time, like when I stopped hooping, like I didn't even want to watch basketball because, you know, you're bitter or whatever, and like all my friends just like reeled me back in. And so I don't even know that I necessarily wanted to like write about basketball. Like I kind of wanted to be like, I wanted to be like Stephen A for real, which is like outlandish to say right now, but you know, Stephen A wasn't always his way. I'm sure y'all remember.
Yeah.
And you know, like I it occurred to me at some point while I was in college, like Stephen A was a writer, a revered columnist for decades before they let him get on TV and say whatever. And so like I kind of knew like, all right, if I want to get on TV and say whatever, like I gotta write. And it just worked out. Like I fell in love with the words, and we're here now. I mean, I graduated 4 years ago. So it all happened fast. But I kind of always knew like if I was gonna be a sports writer, like basketball was what I wanted to be around. I was never a big football guy, and from then on, like, you know, I didn't watch baseball like that. Like basketball has been my life forever.
One thing I've always wondered when it, sorry, go ahead, Sal.
Where'd you graduate?
I
went to Mizzou.
Mizzou. That's right. Okay.
MIZ.
Now, one thing I've always wondered when it comes to sports writers is obviously you grew up around the game, you grew up loving the game. If you grew up in Chicago, you probably grew up a Chicago Bulls fan. Once you start writing, does your fanhood kind of like take a back seat? Do you stop becoming a fan of teams? Are you more just a fan of basketball? How does that work? I
can't speak for everybody, especially in this age. It can be egregious to some of the people that wear their fandom on their sleeve. I gotta say, I was not a Bulls fan growing up. Like I appreciated the D Rose teams. Don't get me wrong, but like I was a Laker fan growing up. Real
Okay.
spill. I was a Kobe guy. I was a Kobe guy. And it was pretty easy for me, low key. I mean, at Missouri, University of Missouri, there. So I didn't even notice when I went there. I mean, I knew they had a decent J school, but they're actually like they're revered as one of the top 5-ish journalism schools in the country. And when you go there, they got this long lineage of people who went there. I mean, the Wright Thompsons, Seth Wickershams, they got this long lineage of like authors, writers, like some of the best writers of our time. And it's almost like boot camp. Like they drill into you pretty soon. Like, yo, whatever you followed and whatever before you got here, like kill it, dead that, and you get good practice. You're around like I covered Mizzou men's basketball when I was there. Uh, I'm trying to think who was on the team, like Drew Smith, Kobe Brown. Like it was a real unorthodox team. But I was pretty. My Lakers fandom by then was like pretty loose. That was like the Russ teams. Like when they traded for us, I'm like, it was easy for me to separate myself from that. But yeah, I mean, I like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but like I've been so far removed from fandom for a long time that it allows me to really appreciate the game and cover the league at the lens I do now. Because now I'm kind of like, branching out, and I'm not just doing Bulls. Like before I got to cover the Bulls, like I was doing Thunder for 2 years, and I'm in OKC right now, and in OKC downtown hotel right now. I was at that game last night, and the only way, I mean, it seems to me, if you're on either the Thunder or Nuggets beats right now, because I can tell you, fandom bleeds through a lot of these reporters involved in that series. The only way you can appreciate Shea and Jokic simultaneously for what they are is probably if you had a upbringing like mine, and those two dudes are great. I mean, this is a moment, man, and I've been able to appreciate stuff like this for a while just because of the kind of experience I had at Mizzou.
For sure. You say you were at the game yesterday?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I wrote off it.
So tell me what it was like then watching Shea make history and get that 126th, if I'm not mistaken, 20-point game consecutively. Just like go in and describe like what was the experience? What was that stadium like? Because it had to be absurd how loud it probably got.
Yeah. I mean, that's arguably the best crowd in the league. Like they're just so good and they care so much out here, man. And honestly, like it took those final 2 shots from Shea for those who watched the game. I mean, he basically hit 2 game winners in the final 15 seconds. For those who watched the game, like it took those 2 shots for me to come around to what he really did. Because being around him, I've covered Shea now since 2023. So I've seen all the greatest hits. Like I've seen when people came around on him, when he became a scoring champ, when he became Finals MVP. I've seen a lot of good Shea games. I think that might have been his best regular season game ever. And I think you felt that by the time he hits the 2 game winners, but then you look at the box score and you're like, yo, 35, 15, which is a career high in assists, 0 turnovers. He's a rebound shy of a triple-double, which triple-doubles are not his thing. The efficiency is crazy. It was not only one of the best matchups I've seen ever, and with my own 2 eyes, but like that was one of the best individual performances, maybe the best ever that I've seen. It was crazy, and to be there, like you felt that off rip because that matchup is so juiced. The Nuggets and the Thunder, like every one of those games, it could be, March 2nd or January 5th or whatever. Like it's juice behind that matchup. It was incredible.
Yeah, because that could very well be Western Conference Finals right there.
It could, and it probably should be. But we haven't seen Denver at full strength. I mean, that was as close as they've probably been in a while. But then again, like Peyton Watson is like a completely different player now, and they didn't have that wrinkle in the playoff series last year. So it'll be fun. I hope they're both healthy for sure.
So this was your first year on the Bulls beat, right?
Yeah. I got hired. I was with the Oklahoman up until the parade last year, and then I got hired by the Athletic in July. So yes, my first season.
Yeah, I heard you on. I think the Athletic preseason they were doing like quick 20-minute pods on every team. with every beat writer, and that's like where I first heard you, first kind of discovered your work. What's it been like your first year on the Bulls beat? Has it been like in this big market? Has it been a little bit different than being in Oklahoma, or how's this fan base been?
Yeah, no, it's way different. Like the way the teams operate, uh, the excitement from the fans. Obviously, like you, I mean, you cannot find a more tortured fan base in basketball right now than Bulls fans. And like a lot of them have like justified apathy, but a lot of them still care to a degree that I'm like surprised about. But then again, like, I caught the Thunder like when they were just coming out of like the tank era. And they turned the corner so fast, but like people really cared. Like, dude, they were playing like, I mean, some of the names you look on those like 20-win season teams, we're like, dude, like who are these people, right? And like people really cared out here still. And I get the sense like Chicago fans. I mean, I grew up around Chicago fans, right? And people just care anyway about the product, and maybe you could argue that's part of the issue. Um, but yeah, it's been too long since there's been a real product to root for, and I think you felt that a lot of the season. And that being said, like it's hard to not write about them without being critical. Like it's just the discord and the operation, how long they've kind of been at this juncture, the fact that they took a step back, and I mean, it was the right thing to do because Lord knows it was going to be difficult to sit through another year of Kobe White and Vooch and Ayo. That being said, like it hasn't been an encouraging step back, right? So it's just for me, it's like going on complete opposite ends of the basketball spectrum. Like the unrivaled defending champion who looked like, as of last night, they're once again in a tier of their own. And then the Bulls who like the Kings are tanking better than them, So I say that after the Kings beat them the other night.
Yeah. So I'm going to piggyback off of what you said there about like how it was just rough watching the team last year. So being as though you covered the Thunder, you got a good look at Josh Giddey before us Bulls fans got a good look at Josh Giddey. Can you like kind of walk me through what you've noticed about his development? Like, what did you notice? Not necessarily just what he took from the Thunder and brought it to Chicago, but what did you notice about his growth as a whole?
Yeah, he's a better player now than then. That's not questionable. He's a better standstill, spot up guy, which was like one of the developments that needed to happen. If you were even going to project him as like a remotely important player for like a serious team. It's also still clear that he needs the ball in his hands, which you can decide at this juncture what that means for your team and how far that gets you. Then again, with him being the lead ball handler, like Shea was clearly the alpha, and the Thunder weren't going to budge off that stance. And so we've kind of yet to see. I mean, we've yet to see like a carefully built team to the degree Josh Giddey needs around him. But then again, I don't know what that build looks like yet. Like it might be such a carefully built roster. It might be improbable to build. And you have to wonder if this is the front office to build it, right? I mean, the only two people I know that can really build that sort of, this theoretical roster are like, Boston and OKC. And OKC obviously had different priorities, right? That's one of the two front offices that could pull off the unthinkable. And so Giddey's a better player right now, obviously. But he's also I'll in fairness, like he's missed. There are components for a ball handling guard that he's missed, that he's never had. Like he's never had a real roller. Like he barely played with Chet, and Chet's taken on so many different roles in his young career. Like he never played with Chet, the lob threat. Like that was not a thing. Chet really became a lob threat when they acquired Hartenstein. And so Giddey, to this point, I will argue, has not played with a real screener. He played 10 games with Zach Collins, which is like That's not a real sample. Nick Richards is what he is. He's 28. He's probably a third string center on a series team. You could argue that's like the best lob threat he's played with, which is like that's not very fair to him, right? And so like there's obviously components that he's missed. That being said, like with the way they play and the way they try to build this thing around him, like the pick and roll numbers are bad. I don't know what they are to this day. I cited them like a week ago when I wrote about him, and he was averaging like less than a point per possession on like pick and roll touches. Like the percentile was not great. I don't know the exact numbers again, so I don't want to butcher it, but the percentile was not great. Like the half court stuff has not been completely encouraging. He's not as bad of a defender to me as he was in OKC. I mean, obviously it was hard to look good with that many good defenders in OKC, but again, it just speaks to like how careful and perfectly built a team has to be around him. It just seems like such a strenuous task versus, just getting like another big two-way ball handler that's like promising and young. Those seem to be it's not as easy to acquire, but and then again, I understand the obligation there must be, and like when you get a guy like that on a team friendly deal, 20-25 mil a year, that clearly like sets a standard for your window, right? Because like you kind of have to make use of such like a monetarily friendly deal. I don't know. That's where I say I don't know how you guys feel. I imagine that's influenced the decision making so far, which feels like from the way that the offense has been built to some of the decision making, like it feels catered to him, which I imagine is influenced by the contract.
Yeah,
that was one of my things I was saying during the trade deadline. I was saying they should chase a bigger name and a guy who has a bigger contract. Like I was using Zion Williamson as an example. And I was saying they should chase him because Giddey is on a relatively team-friendly deal. So I was comparing it to like a rookie scale salary in the NFL, which kind of made the Bulls taking a step back annoy me a little bit because to me, you're wasting a year where you're having this guy at a value pick. So now instead of having him for 4 years on a contract where you can build around him a little bit more, you're taking a step back and now it's just one less year that you can really take advantage of him. What did you think covering the team of what they did at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean the roster they came out with was incoherent, right? Like I know a lot of people were pissed because they feel like the return. I mean, you look at the team they had 3 years ago that was atop the East for that moment in time, and all told, what they got back for all those guys, like it looks bad, right? And I'm not defending it. That being said, like the guys they did get off of at this deadline, like like Kobe White, like obviously they waited too long to get off Kobe White, right? But when they did get off him, like that was what they were gonna get. Honestly, after that, I was surprised they got off Io, and I was surprised at the return. But at that point, I just got the indication that they just wanted to wipe their hands with that iteration of the team and just have a clean slate. But yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I don't have a super strong opinion on it. It doesn't stick out on their resume, right? Like it feels pretty in line with a lot of the things they've done. I mean, obviously they haven't traded nearly as much as they did at this deadline, but like as far as like moving the needle, it's like in line with some of the things they've done. Like I'd speak more to like the discord and the aftermath. Like to me, I thought it felt like in Moneyball when Brad Pitt traded away like all the guys that mattered and was like, you have to play this team. That feels like the challenge for Billy Donovan because he's like so wired to win no matter who's on the roster. Like Colin Sexton is gonna play 30 minutes if he can, right? And so I don't know, like it's been such a funky thing. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it, especially now with like the rumored discussions, the reported discussions of this possibly being the last year of these lottery odds. It all feels way too familiar for this regime, the way it's unfolding. I I sympathize with Bulls fans is all. That's those are my thoughts on the deadline.
It ain't an easy job being a Bulls fan, man.
Mhm.
It ain't an easy job.
Yeah.
Joel, I wanted to touch on it because we did bring up the trades, and one could argue this was probably one of the most active trade deadlines in the Chicago Bulls history, at least of my 30 years watching the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Of all those trades that we made, did any of them at all spark any sort of okay, that makes sense to you, or were they all just salary dumps, so to speak?
Yeah, I'd lean the latter. I mean, I thought the half that like cater to that sort of window they want to get into, which is like anywhere from 19 to 23 age wise. Like there's encouraging signs there, but also the guys they got, like like Leonard Miller. I like to see what's there with Leonard Miller, Rob Dillingham. While he could probably play more at this stage, he does not look like a great NBA player. He doesn't look very good at all so far. And it feels like this is like his real rookie year almost right now. And Jaden Ivey, the other guard they got, which I know people were excited about that, the sort of buy low nature of that deal. Last time we talked to Ivey, he was like on a 10-minute, spiel about faith and everything. And now he's like trying to strengthen his leg. After he told us like, that was soreness and he didn't feel like he should be out. It's been a weird thing, and a difficult to read roster. But like you look at the other moves, like picking up Yabu, dealing for Nick Richards, that just those things feel like placeholders in the front court, right? Like you acquire all these guards to maybe see who can stick. And then the front court, like that to me was like the Brad Pitt deal, right? Where the front court is so bad, like the team probably has to lose games and position themselves in the lottery. But then again, like you play Colin Sexton enough in March and maybe they do rattle off some wins, I don't know.
Yeah, Colin Sexton, I keep calling him the tank commander because he's a guy, he's going to put up numbers. Like you give him 30 minutes out there,
tank
he's going to do it.
In the actual sense. Tank commander is supposed to help you lose games while getting the numbers.
They've been losing games lately, though. He's been getting numbers, but they've been still losing games.
For sure, but not this past week. When he played, they were in position. They were in position is all I'm saying.
They were in position. I was kind of surprised that the Kings actually messed around and beat them, even though I did call it that Russell Westbrook was going to go nuts and have a triple-double. That was easy to see.
I believe it.
So with you spending time around the Thunder, spending time around the Bulls, you get plugged into the different, sources, and I'm sure you have sources with the players, sources with the front office and everything. Is there anything you notice between how these two organizations carry themselves? Like, does the way the Thunder handle business just markedly different than the way the Bulls handle business? Because from the outside, to me, just being a fan, it looks like the Thunder are a much better, much cleaner run organization than the Bulls.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of unfair to the Bulls because I mean I can't even single out the Bulls here. Like the way the Thunder do business outclasses a lot of the league. I mean, they somehow managed to sneak Jared McCain at the deadline, and that's probably going to swing playoff games for them, right? And they do stuff like that every year. I mean, it's this roster that you see, which is going to be like a perennial contender probably for the next 5 years or whatever, the duration of some of their all-star contracts. That was built slowly and methodically with moves at the margin and getting lucky. But the overall build is not lucky, right? Like that's the way they do business. Like the small pieces of good business just add up. Like don't get me wrong. I thought the Bulls had a couple pieces of like good business. Like early on at the deadline, like getting some of the like nothing seconds for like the Javon Carter deal, like stuff like that. Small minute stuff, right? Or like getting the pick they got out of Vooch after he had like zero traction. Stuff like that. But like the Thunder do stuff like that, and then like they're also ballsy, right? Like they traded Russ and PG when it was time, and they got a haul, dude. I think the thing about Sam Presti is he knows how to manipulate desires. I think like he really know that part of doing business. Like, I know a lot of fans like to talk about like, oh, so and so got fleeced, and I think Sam Presti does business in a way that just he makes people want to come back to do more business, but he also somehow always comes out on top. So it's like maybe you could argue like people shouldn't keep doing business with him because it's like, oh, if he's calling you, maybe you shouldn't pick up because it might not look as good in a year or two or even 2 weeks in McCain's case. But I think he has a way of manipulating desires, and in this case, like they have this unreal treasure chest of picks, right? And they have a need that McCain feels, the movement, shooting, and all that. And they catch a guy in Daryl Morey who's like, yo, I'm low on McCain right now. We're never if McCain is gonna be this guy or whatever they thought his ceiling was, we're never gonna get a first and all this capital and whatever for him like we are getting offered right now. Sam just knows how to cater to desires. I can't speak to how the Bulls do business all the time, but it just doesn't seem like the conversations don't always train that way. If the conversations are being had, right? Like I know I can't speak to because Presti obviously didn't have Vooch and DeMar and all these guys. Like he didn't inherit that build, right? But I imagine like that's a ballsy dude. Like when it came time to tank and do what it did, like he did it. I mean, he did the ballsiest stuff possible. I just don't know that this front office has that kind of conviction, and it's so different. And then like as far as team building goes, like the use of two ways as well, right? Like AJ Mitchell might be the best contract in the league. That guy's like one of the 5 most important Thunder players right now. He's making $3 million annually, which is like absurd, dude. Because people are like talking about like he has Brunson upside. I don't know if I'm there yet, but he's an incredible stabilizer. They got him for $3 million a year. Jalen Williams is like that dude would start on a lot of teams, and he's a great backup center for a lot of teams. That's their 3rd string center. He makes $8 million a year, and he's helping them defend Jokic in a playoff series. They do stuff like that all the time. And as far as two-way, like AJ, what I was saying earlier, AJ Mitchell started on a two-way for them. Like they traded one of their shooters who didn't even play to move up to draft AJ like 40th in a draft a couple years ago. You traded Lindy Waters for the chance to draft AJ Mitchell, right? I just don't think as far as chess and checkers, I don't know that AK is playing those kind of games. I mean, as far as the minute details, like Sam's just so ahead of his peers, man. And the use of two ways, like they've converted so many guys into like real rotational players out of that. I just don't think the Bulls use their farm system the same way. At least it doesn't appear like that. But then again, the Thunder are in a class of their own as far as that too. I mean, they groom Mark Daigneault the same way through the G League. So the differences couldn't be more vast. But you could probably point to you could blindfold yourself and throw a rock and you'll hit so many teams who don't move the way the Thunder do.
Facts. Joel, you knew this. You probably knew this question was coming, considering that you are you cover both the Thunder and the Chicago Bulls. We just touched on teams getting fleeced in trades.
Yeah.
And one question I got for you, because it always boggled my mind. It's always played a big role in my mind, is what did you think of the overall Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso trade? Because in all my years of following sports, never have I ever seen a trade that just works so perfectly in the favor for both parties, where you really can't say one team got quote unquote fleeced over another. So just talk me through the atmosphere of that and also what Alex has meant for this Thunder organization.
Yeah. I think you're mostly right. Like, I think when the Bulls traded for Giddey, it was like it's another buy low thing, right? And what you're getting, what you're guaranteed is a guy who at the very least raises your floor to a certain degree. And if Billy Donovan is your head coach and you want to win a certain amount of games, even if that's 30, 35, like a something that you're not like drinking yourself to sleep over, right? Like Josh Giddey probably gets you there as your orchestrator. He's a floor raiser. Like we're not talking about a ceiling raiser. He's not that type of archetype. I don't think you're looking at more like a Chet Holmgren, like those certain archetypes were like a shot blocker, like somebody who puts you over the top once a build is mostly complete. Like Giddey's on the other end of that. He's a floor raiser. Like if you are starting bare, the cupboard is bare. He probably helps you get there. The PRA is there. So he was a good starter for them, right? And then Caruso is like obviously a guy that's a ceiling raiser right there, which the Bulls did not have a ceiling in sight to raise when they traded him. And so like you don't need that guy. And the Thunder do. Now, when people argue like because of the unique circumstances of who they were dealing with, who they were doing business with, all the picks and draft capital that the Thunder had, and the fact that to me, I mean, what we did know about the trade was that if Sam Presti couldn't find another suitor for Josh Giddey, because Giddey's ambition was the reason he was traded. Like he wanted to be, they were gonna try to make him the sixth man, and Giddey was entering a contract year. That's not what he envisioned for himself, right? And obviously this year he started off with some fringe all-star talks. Like I respect that, right? But that being said, like if they wouldn't have found a suitor, like I'm pretty sure he would have just started camp with them again, and they would have tried to make it work. Like I think Giddey would have just had to stomach that. So that being said, like to me, that says that Caruso was the guy for them. Like that because of the focus on a guy like Caruso as a ceiling raiser. Like, yo, we need this archetype, we need this level of winner, this veteran leadership for a team that had almost no playoff experience. I mean, their only playoff experience with that roster, the bulk of that roster was going to the second round and losing to the Luka Mavs. Like that, they had virtually zero playoff experience, and Caruso obviously adds so much for them. He was just such a perfect storm for all the boxes they needed to check. To me, it seems like if you're in that position, you know they have this guy in their line of sight. Like maybe you weasel out some capital for those reasons. So I get when people argue that, but that being said, like overall, like I thought the trade worked out for both sides. Bulls get a floor raiser, which they needed from starting bare and changing direction, and the Thunder got the guy that helped them win a title, which I know is going to sting for Bulls fans. I mean, Alex Caruso all year, I don't think he had a 20-point game in the regular season, and then he has like 3 in the playoff, 2 of them in the finals. Like he's just that type of player. But what are the Bulls going to do with that type of player, right? So it is what it is. I thought, to your point, Sal, like it made sense for both sides.
Love it.
Yeah, my thing with the trade was similar to what you were saying. I just thought the Bulls should have played a little bit more hardball. Like if I remember the trade right, it happened basically at the start of the offseason, so I didn't understand why they didn't potentially play hardball, demand some kind of pick back, because Caruso was that piece that OKC needed. I've had people on Twitter argue with me that OKC still would have won the title with Giddey instead of Caruso because that team was so stacked.
No.
I don't think they would have. I don't think they would have overcame Jokic. I don't think they would have even overcame the scrappiness of that Pacers team in the finals if it wasn't for Caruso.
Yeah, I mean, if you literally swap their places, I mean, this is like all hypothetical, right? But I can tell you what happened in the Dallas series, and I can tell you what happened last postseason. In the Dallas series, the last one that Giddey played with them, Giddey started the entire year, and Giddey started all but like 2 games. Game 5 of that Dallas series and Game 6 of that Dallas series, where they had to insert Isaiah Joe and finally come off with the idea like, okay, Giddey can no longer start for us. We're having these slow starts. Dallas is putting a big on Giddey. It was what it was. The cross matching was like inevitable and difficult to overcome by then. So like you're neutralizing all the threats to OKC, because OKC, before they even acquired Hartenstein, their thing was like, you had the cross match with Chet because Chet was such a good stretch 5. You had the cross match as a team, and it put you at a disadvantage if you were the opponent already. Giddey neutralized that. And so, like, by the end of that series, I think they knew, like, this is, if you're not going to come off the bench for us, because you kind of have to stagger him with Shea at that rate. And even then, like, teams are defending him a certain way. Like I said, they didn't have the proper screeners to like, make him more useful than he was. And so like that was what happened in the Dallas series. And last postseason with Caruso in that place, like Caruso's a guy. I mean, obviously you can argue there's redundancy on their roster with guys like that. Like Lou Dort does similar things. Case and Wallace does similar things. Like these guys, they pull these guys out of a hat, right? That being said, like Caruso added a wrinkle for them. He's just so good at scaling up. Like Lou Dort, you could put to maybe chase guys through screens or whatever, but Caruso like changed that game 7 against Denver because it was just so hard to officiate that. There was no real precedent to set about how to officiate that. And like you could argue the amount of contact he got away with defending Jokic, but that's like 60-pound difference, probably more, and like 5-6 inches of height. So like that was not only savvy on their part, but like Caruso allows you to do stuff like that, and he allows you to cross match and get away with stuff. Like if Caruso played last night, he's probably guarding Aaron Gordon instead of Case and Wallace. Like they put Case in an impossible situation, and that's not a luxury they had with Giddey, right? Like Giddey just is such a vastly different archetype, and for what they needed, like you don't need really. I mean, how much usage do you need? The usage Giddey had by the end of that Dallas series on the year was like close to like 22, 23%. You don't need anybody probably with nearly that much usage when you're playing with an all-time ball handler in Shea, right? Like this dude never turns the ball over. He did all that yesterday with 0 turnovers. He never turns the ball over. He has the ball the entire game. He gets you whatever shot you want basically on whatever possession you want. The doubles don't matter anymore. So like, why would you need another ball handler with that much usage as Giddey, right? Like at that point, all you need is like secondary ball handlers, like a J-Dub who can like withstand pick and rolls, or like a AJ who can get paint touches when you need to like attack gaps in certain defenses. Like the Giddey thing ran its course alongside Shea, right? So I'm with you, man. I mean, for people to say like they could have kept Giddey, like the teams would have kept defending them that way. And then you're talking like let's say they get to the conference finals against whoever, they get past that second round threshold with Giddey. There's always a team. I mean, the more tape there is on you, the harder it is to advance, right? Like I'm of the belief that they would have just kept scheming for Giddey to the point where you probably couldn't play him nearly as much. I mean, he barely played by the end of that Dallas series.
Yeah. Joel, this is going to be another question that I'm sure a lot of people saw this coming. The OKC Thunder have a lot of first round picks. I mean, I think they have between 14 and 15 first overall picks or first round picks over the next few years here, and 3 of them alone this season, I believe, I'm not mistaken. With that being said, with such a powerhouse team right now and such a powerhouse, they got a full head of steam looking to possibly win another championship. Walk me through a little bit how well they're set up and what their realistic plans, that your opinion is, that they can do with these first round picks, because we live in a very real world where this team can mess around and win the NBA championship and then go draft a top 5 pick in the next draft. So walk me a little through how well they're set up with these picks and realistically what they can do with them.
Yeah, I don't know the exact count of all their picks over the next few years. I've been around the Bulls too long, but like I know they have the potential to have 3 picks in the top 15 this year. It depends on the way the pendulum swings. With like Philly's one of the protected picks. Utah is one of the protected picks, which is why they're doing like some of the most egregious tanking you've ever seen, because that's like top 8 protected. And I forget the other pick, but it's like potential for,
I think it's the Clippers.
Yes, Clippers. And so obviously that was a point of contention early on, because I mean the Clippers just reached 500, which is like you've never seen anything like that, because the way they started was like people were like sure that the Thunder were gonna be able to decide between AJ DeBansa and whoever else. But yeah, like you're gonna look at that's what we're talking about this cycle, right? But you're gonna look at the picks they have moving forward. They still, I believe, have some Dallas picks Like the thing they do, the thing Sam loves doing is getting in as a third or fourth team on a deal and like helping you facilitate something and getting like they help. People were pissed after the second round they lost to Dallas because Daniel Gafford was part of the reason why like their center rotation got killed. That was back when Jalen Williams was like not a sufficient backup center. I mean, Chet came off the floor and Jalen Williams was 6'9". He's guarding 2 lob bigs. It was impossible. Daniel Gafford was part of that reason. And Daniel Gafford landed in Dallas because OKC helped facilitate that deal. But they also got a first rounder a couple years down the line out of them. And now Dallas is tanking, right? So they're part of the reason Dallas is missing assets. They do this stuff all the time. Like they've got a Denver pick here in the next few years. I don't know that I'd bet on Denver blowing it up so long as they have Jokic or them moving off Jokic. I don't think that'll happen either. But like Sam is just good at getting in on these types of deals, right? That's how well set up they are. Like you're gonna look up the next few years and be like, dude, they got this pick too, they got this team's pick too, and the team is magically gonna blow it up. And I mean, just think of the sheer panic people felt when they realized the downward slope the Clippers were on early this season, like the sheer terror that was running through people when they realized that Thunder had their pick. And so you're gonna see that I think pop up a lot over these next few years, and they got so much cost control in terms of contracts like AJ, Big J Will, like they paid who they needed to pay, and it's gonna it'll be a point of contention this summer, like whether they keep Lou Dort, whether they keep Hardenstein. I think if you have to pick between the two, like probably Hardenstein. He's just so important, and he's an important screener for Shea. But like they've got so much overlap on the roster, like they can just say, okay, well, we've got Case and Wallace, and we're just gonna give him this amount, or they can eventually, let Caruso walk. Like they've got all these different archetypes that work well right now, and so much cost control. Like AJ Mitchell making $3 million a year, and Jared McCain still being on a rookie scale contract is gonna help keep them well fed forever. Aaron Wiggins is on one of the better deals in the league, and that dude would help a lot of teams. Isaiah Joe is one of the best movement shooters in the league. He's on an insanely team-friendly deal. That like these are crazy assets for any team to have, and they've hoarded them, right? So they're just incredibly well set up.
Absolutely.
Now we are a Bulls podcast. We've been talking a lot of Thunder talk here, so we'll try to bring it back to the Bulls a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on Modest Buzelis because it's split amongst the fan base. Some of them are incredibly disappointed because they had crazy expectations in preseason. Right. The rest of us, we like what we're seeing. For me, when I look at him, and it's interesting, you were at the Denver game yesterday. I use Aaron Gordon kind of as an archetype for Modest because Modest obviously needs to get stronger, but we don't want him to sacrifice any of that athleticism. And Aaron Gordon is a guy who's clearly gotten stronger as he's been in the league, but he hasn't sacrificed that athleticism yet. When you watch Modest, what do you see? What kind of ceiling do you see for the kid? Just what are your general Modest Buzelis thoughts?
I'm kind of mulling over the Aaron Gordon thing because I hadn't thought about this. My head tells me I don't like it, but I do like the connection in the sense that like, could he be your third best player on a very, very serious contender? That being said, who's the best player on that team? I mean, the best player on Aaron Gordon's team is, widely considered the best player in the world and one of the 15 best players of all time. And not only that, he's the best playmaking big ever. And so their connection is like absurd. I mean, they like move like telekinetically at this point. And so like, would Modest have that level of playmaker beside him? Like that matters, right? What would the half court offense look like? Because to me, like, while I appreciate the floor raising level of playmaker Giddey is, like, and it's probably the way the team is built too. Like this has a big part of it, but like we talked about the pick and roll earlier. Like Giddey has not been that advantageous a playmaker to me. And so like we don't know imagine what Modest might look like next to Jokic, right? But chances are we're never going to be able to live in that hypothetical. So it's hard for me to like compare him to Aaron Gordon. The only link I would make is like, could he be on a serious contender like third, fourth best player? I think that's a fair ceiling. I also don't want to rule out like the All-Star talks, right? Like I think he's in a just fine position as a second year player, right? Like the volume has gotten up there obviously since they reset. I am fine with fans having gripes about the shot diet. I don't think that he needs to be like Jaylen Brown and like one dribble middies and like probing in the pick and roll every possession. Like that's a bit much, right? Like I know people just want to see like uh an outright like tank, like no rules, whatever. But I also do think there's like some closer middle ground to find. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers from last year, but I think I wrote about this earlier in the year, like December. I think he took upward of like 200 threes last year and like less than 20 non-paint twos, which is like an unreal disparity, right? So I think there's room for like more creation. I do think he's gotten like a decent share of like on ball stuff. The fact that I matter is with Modest is the handle's too loose right now. Um, where I think he's fell short is as a defender, but that falls in part on the staff and the team build because they've kind of teetered him between positions. Well, hey, he starts the year. Can you guard Mobley? Can you guard Paulo? Can you guard these bigger, stronger dudes? And then they're like, oh, well, maybe he's a three. Like there just hasn't been any consistency with his position to really lock him into like a real archetype and role to me. And like the help side shot blocking is cool, weak side shot blocking is cool. But like the type of defender we're projecting Modest as, like he's not close to that right now. And I do think some of that falls on the team building stuff. But like as an offensive guy, the handle's too loose right now. The shot diet could probably be reworked. That being said, I think he's exactly where he needs to be as a second year guy. As soon as they put like more encouraging pieces around him and this thing, gets the right direction, like I don't doubt that he'll, maybe be their second best player or third best player when they get to like if this iteration becomes a playoff team or something close.
I'm glad you mentioned that because my question to you was this: with you saying putting pieces around Modest Buzelis and with us kind of looking towards the future and this season is kind of it is what it is. It's a wash, whatever Bulls fans want to take it as right now. What pieces do you see in the offseason, outside of the draft, of course, as far as free agents and trades that you feel the Bulls could make a couple phone calls and put Giddey and Modest in a position with? What players do you feel like are acquirable and the Bulls should really take a look at?
Yeah, that's interesting. I know like the common target is like Tari Eason, which is like, I like Tari Eason as a player. He's a real connective player. Artur says that he wants to build a defensive identity, which is fair. Like you should be trying to, right? A lot of the contenders tanking from a lot of the teams that went from tank to contender, like Spurs, Thunder, Detroit, they started with a defensive identity and built from there and found creators and whatever else. So I think that wanting that to be a direction is fine. Tari Eason helps you get there. I mean, right now I can count on one hand the amount of actual defenders that contenders would maybe take on the team. Isaac Okoro is probably like the only one, especially as like a point of attack defender. Like he's become like irrationally important on this team. So Tari Eason like helps you get there. He can scale up, scale down a little bit, guards multiple positions. Like I get the intrigue. I know Peyton Watson. I saw somebody in the chat say that earlier. I know Peyton Watson is like a common target too. If I'm Denver, I'm trying to make that work because he adds a wrinkle to if you are looking at, I mean, teams should never be looking necessarily or be influenced by looking side to side at, oh, who does San Antonio have? Like it shouldn't influence your entire decision making. But like Peyton Watson is like potentially the wrinkle that helps you compete against OKC for years to come, at least over the next 2 years. And so like I'd be trying to keep him and match him. And so like if we're talking about it depends on what the number is, right? Like if we're talking about more than like 25 million, like, Bulls got to consider like that's just there's a certain range where I stop talking about Peyton Watson, because then you gotta consider too all the variables. I mean, if I learned anything from being around the Thunder, adding one ingredient to the pot changes so much. And if Modest Buzella's development is, one of the things you're trying to cook up, like you got to consider what Peyton Watson does positionally to that experiment, where he puts Modest on the floor, how much usage he takes, what defensive assignments he takes from him. Like that's like a fragile thing to me, right? I'm not trying to discourage people from the idea of Peyton Watson. It's just something to consider. I mean, but those are the only like non-draft guys that at the top of my head come to mind. I haven't got super deep into the weeds on this free agency class or restricted free agency class. But yeah, I mean, those are the two guys that I suppose make sense. I mean, are there other popular names that are out there?
Walker Kessler, he seems to be a popular name.
Walker Kessler, yeah, that's fair. Big is probably the direction they should go, and he's had such a strange career in Utah. Obviously, a good player, but I that would be, I actually, now that you mention it, out of that list, it's probably top target. I mean, the thing that was most difficult to watch about the Vooch iteration was the clear black hole the rim was in terms of rim protection. All these great teams start with rim protection, and that's the great teams have like 2 rim protectors. Like you have lineup versatility, but at the very least you have to start with one. And I've kind of been, I know it's low leverage basketball, but like I've been encouraged by the shot blocker Jalen Smith has been as of late, and so like maybe you slot him into a actual, because I think he's a tweener still. He's not a 5. So maybe you slide him into a Walker Kessler open stretch the floor. Like that's not, for where the Bulls are, like that's as encouraging as it's gonna get to me. So yeah, I take the flyer on Walker Kessler. Sure, I actually forgot about him. Yeah, that would be top priority for me for sure.
Right on. You got anything else for him, Justin?
I did have one more Giddey question. It's kind of analysis that I've had about the team, and you've obviously been watching Josh Giddey a lot longer, a lot closer than I have. But for me, the one thing I want to see him really improve, and I'm not sure if it's a Giddey thing or a coaching thing, I want to see him get better in the half court. And when I watch these games, it seems like the Bulls don't really have, like when I watch the Thunder play or even the Timberwolves or some of these higher end teams, they seem to have like offensive sets that they go through and plays to get their guys into the ball in the best spots. And the Bulls, it seems like they more so just kind of play random basketball, like just roll the ball out and go in the half court, because their focus is the transition with Josh Giddey. What do you think he needs to do to become a competent half court player? Because you're not going to be a good organization if you're not competent in the half court.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of team build to me. It's kind of like you mentioned, like it's like as soon as they acquired him, it enabled them to go this direction where they want to even speed up like half court possessions, like make it so that they don't really have to settle for like most of the shot clock in the half court, and then they want to run most of the time because it caters to his strengths, right? Like by the time OKC became a really truly good half court team, again, like Josh's usage was meant to pale in comparison to a guy like Shea, and they've got the lineup versatility where like Josh is not a secondary ball handler. Like that's not the way his game is designed. AJ Mitchell is a secondary ball handler where he doesn't need the ball, and he has the gravity as a shooter, and he is like such an instant paint touch. Josh Giddey, to me, again, he needs good screeners, but he's also like not as easy a paint touch to me as like AJ Mitchell, right? Like the drives aren't as easy and smooth. He's not a guy who relies on burst. He's a lot of angles and positioning and height. And as far as those guys go, like the guys who try to rely on like angles, like he's not the Jalen Brunson. He's not like Shea even does that a lot, right? So I think he just has to master his game, but he also just hasn't had the resources really necessary. And now he also doesn't have like Kobe White. You could argue, even though I thought they were better when they were staggered before, before he got traded. But like Kobe White was maybe the closest thing to a guy next to him with some gravity that could like, if you're gonna rely on angles and driving kicks and stuff, like that helps. But now they don't even have the secondary ball handler to me to help him sort of navigate that process and go to someone when the possessions die. So I just don't think he has the resources, man. But it's obviously like an uphill climb to even make him that sort of player with the way he plays, which is why I think, I mean, maybe it was short-sighted, but I think that's kind of why they built the team and enabled like, hey, we're gonna run, because you kind of know what you sign up for when you get him. Like that's kind of built in. So I'm not sure what it exactly is gonna take, Justin, but I do know they need half court guys. Like the roster is just not built to cater to him as much as they went out and said, hey, we want to enable this fast play and stuff. Like they just don't have a real NBA roster right now.
Fair, very fair.
Very fair, yeah.
So here on Bulls on Tap, we close every episode with 3 different segments. We do a segment called On Tap or Totally Crap. I'm going to give you a statement. If you agree with it, you say on tap. If you disagree, totally crap. You can expound on that point if you want, or you can just leave it. And then we open it up to the mailbag. We got a lot of good mailbag questions for you. And then we close with random bull of the day. So if you're ready, man, we could play on tap or totally crap.
Let's do it. I hope there's a Joe Cowley question in there.
Oh, bro,
we got plenty of Joe
many.
Cowley. We got plenty of Joe Cowley. I started a lot of good comments about Joe Cowley. What do we got? 4 today, Justin, on tap, totally crap?
Yeah, we got 4. You want to read the first one?
Absolutely. All right. Number 1, and probably the most loaded question of on tap or totally crap, will be the Chicago Bulls will be a playoff team next season.
What's the non on tap option?
Totally crap.
Totally crap.
Yep.
That's pretty
All
unanimous.
Right. Yep. Question 2 here. The on tap or totally crap, the Bulls will move up in the draft.
Totally crap.
Kind of figured
it would take some. After seeing the amount of minutes Colin Sexton played the other night, I'm just not convinced. It was already an uphill battle. I mean, it would have took like some Utah Jazz level maneuvers, like some really intentional stuff, and that's just not happening. I mean, it's not going to happen with the staff. It's not going to happen with these players who are like trying to audition for their next jobs or staying around. Sorry about that. So yeah, I just, it's totally crap to me. Like it's just such an uphill battle when you start at the deadline, and he's like, this is the most egregious we've ever seen tanking, Mm-hmm. So I think they're pretty locked at the 9-10. It's going to be pretty difficult.
Now, do you think they could potentially use some of those second-round draft picks to move up in the draft once the lottery standings are finalized?
I don't. I do think the most valuable pick they have is that one they got in the Vooch deal. I just don't like if they would have got the Portland pick. I think maybe it would have helped them get from like 14 to like 12 or 11. But like as far as like if they end up with 9. I don't think a team's trying to come off of 7 or 6, even though like I know once you get out of the top 4, like I know it's draft guys are pretty iffy about, like there's no real consensus right now about the order. Like I just don't think this is a draft people are trying to really maneuver out of, from what I understand. Like it's just such a good draft. Like nobody wants to be the team that says, well, hey, we traded out of 6 when we could have had, I don't know, like I've heard mixed things about Acuff, but like say what you want. Like he's had a great season. He looks like a good facilitator, not the best defender or whatever. Like if he becomes like a real offensive stabilizer and a point guard, you don't want to be the team from where I sit that says, well, we could have had Acuff at 6, but we traded out for 16 or something like that. So I don't think it's likely. Not with their seconds either, especially.
Yeah, I like it. Very good. All right, Joel. One thing that this Bulls roster was lacking this season was an all-star. That being said, on tap or totally crap, the Chicago Bulls will have an all-star on their roster next season?
Totally crap. I just think, man, you guys are putting me in a tough position. I think it's just so I mean, you got to think like, because this is also voted on, and like, I know on the media side, uh, like there's a certain threshold of winning that needs to take place. Uh, I remember this was a point of contention with Trae Young for a lot of years in his All-Star candidacy. There's a certain threshold of winning you need to cross, and the Bulls never seem to be there around the time. Like I thought Giddey had a real shot this past year, but then he missed those few weeks, and it was like the candidacy fell off. Other guys played well, but it was like an uphill thing to me. And fan voting was like never there for him. The coaches also have to vote you in, which I don't know that consensus among coaches is like that he should be in over like even like a Norman Powell or something like that. Like this is not to say he can't get substantially better next year, but like we said, right? Like the roster looks completely bleak right now, and if I have to move off the idea what they can go get and what they have, like, you know, I don't think it's gonna put him in a much better position than he is right now, if I have to speak. So totally crap. Apologies.
Man, 3 craps in a row, man. Let's see if this last one will get you at least one on tap.
All right. Last one, on tap or totally crap. I'm going to change up the wording of this one just a little bit. Rob Dillingham will have a moment in the NBA.
A moment. Define a moment.
Like he's going to make a difference on a team someday, whether that's a moment in a playoff series or a moment on a tanking team having a Colin Sexton type run that we've seen the last 5 years. Or the last 5 games.
I would never rule that out. Never rule that out. Bones Highland is having a meaningful, like he's a meaningful bench guard for Minnesota right now, who is like in that like second tier of like Western Conference contenders. I never ruled it out. Rob Dillingham has like so much further of a way to go, because I think Bones Highland is like 6'4", and I know Rob Dillingham's listed at 6'3". He's not 6'3". He's maybe 6'1". He's not 6'3". I'm in the locker room with that guy all the time. He's not 6'3". And so he's also like 175 pounds. There's just so, dude, he's starting at such a, and this is why like the whole Minnesota thing, we could go at length about this another time, but like he's starting at such a vulnerable position because he already needed so much development, and they could never really give him the time of day. And then like, if you read the story I did on him the other day, it like hurt his confidence to a degree where like the Bulls have to rebuild that too. They're now tasked with doing that too, right? And I think they're off to a good start by enabling him with some of the minutes they've given him in some games. Obviously, other games they're playing Colin Sexton 30 minutes and barely playing him at all, but he's already played like 8 or 10 games of like 20 plus minutes when he only had like one of those such games in Minnesota all year, right? And so there's just so much that has to happen with Rob Dillingham, and so many resources that need to be dedicated to making that guy a good player. And even then, is he ever going to be a defender that can't get picked on, even if he adds strength? And so there's just always going to be asterisks to his game, even if he becomes a level of offensive weapon that is like a Bones Highland, like a microwave scorer, can run the pick and roll, stabilize our offense. But he's not coached right now. But then again, the NBA development is never linear. There are guys who like completely stink year 1, year 2, who like find their way onto a roster in like year 7 and like make a difference somehow. Like you never know when these guys are going to pop and when the resources in the NBA starts to make sense to them. So a moment, like I guess on tap here. Like,
yeah, we got one.
I don't know how soon it will be. Maybe it's 5 years from now, but like, sure, on tap.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Look.
Yeah. We got one. All right, Matt. That was on tap or totally crap. I'm excited to get into this mailbag with you because it is a lot of Cowley questions. And I like Cowley. Cowley is a very polar. I don't know if you've picked up on it being with the Bulls this year or the Bulls fandom. Very polarizing member of Bulls fandom. A lot of people don't like him. And I like him. My thing with him is I realized a long time ago, he's not a Bulls fan. He's a reporter. He's just objectively doing his job and reporting the facts and talking about the condition of the team. So I like Cali. I like how real he keeps it.
I mean, do fans want somebody from the Sun-Times to be a fan of the team?
You would be surprised. Yes.
The question I would raise is this: would you want the Sun-Times beat writer or the Athletic beat writer or Chicago Tribune beat writer to be a fan of the team and mushy-gushy with the team when it comes time to ask Arturas Karnisovas questions, when it comes time to ask Josh Giddey why they fell short in a postseason series? Like, that's never made sense to me. And I get it's all blurry with this new age of internet access, but why I like Joe Cowley is he is as old school of a journalist as they come. Now, sure, he ruffles feathers on Twitter. He does not look to make friends on Twitter. He is a curmudgeon. He is he has very loose fingers when it comes to shooting gifts at people. He rips off at the mouth. But that dude is a warrior, man, and he's done the job like the way it was meant to be done for a long time. Like, obviously now he's like a columnist for a tabloid. We do different jobs, but like forever he was the authority on the Sox beat. Because of his disposition and the way he is, he broke so much of the Jim Boylan stuff, and he's been a constant post on his beat forever. So I don't get fans like, don't get me started down that rabbit hole, man. I like to think I'm perfectly objective, and I'm not. I try to always be fair to everybody I'm talking to. So like, maybe Joe could be a little more fair to people, but he's also a columnist. Like it's less of his job to be fair as a columnist. Like, he's supposed to shoot opinions, right? And if people don't like those opinions, I imagine Joe Cowley will tell you to kick rocks, especially if it's on Twitter.
Thanks.
So the first question that we got as far as Joel pertains, this one is it's on Twitter. It's from local Bulls fan. Shout out AD. He's in the chat here today. But he's asking, this one's it's about Cali, but it's about you too. Does being one of the younger members of the beat kind of help you connect with the players a little bit more than like Cowley or Smith? Because those guys are obviously from a different generation. Do you feel like being closer to these guys' age gives you any kind of advantage with the job?
In most cases, yeah. Like I think in theory, you would think like somebody at Cowley's age, like would have less of an advantage or like be disadvantaged or like not be in a position to talk to them at all. But like Cowley actually has like really good relationships with these guys, and like he was really good, especially with the last iteration. I don't know how much he'd vibe with Rob Dillingham, but like, like it just seems like it's hard to not talk to Cowley, to me, because he is so outspoken. He does the job every day. He's gonna get in, get out, do what he has to do. I know he had a really good relationship with Io, which is like, if you're being stereotypical about Cali, this old 60-year-old white dude, like, you would think he wouldn't have a great relationship with some of these younger dudes, especially as young as Io. I think Io's close to my age. He's like 25. So yeah, I think in most cases, like in the Thunder locker room, for sure, like it's an advantage for me. Those guys are all my age. I think it works out in most cases for sure. But I don't think Cali has a hard time getting to know people. Maybe that's more the case for like Sam. I can't speak to Sam's relationships all that well, but like I imagine it's easier for me to connect with those guys. I mean, I've enjoyed covering the new guys. They've been pretty easy to deal with, regardless of how the team looks. Like, I think they just know what it is, and it's honestly refreshing. It's been pretty easy to deal with them.
For sure. All right, I got Cowley question number 2. I guess we would just say the Cowley. We got the Cowley corner here.
Hell yeah.
This question comes from here. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for everyone to see. This comes from a really good buddy of mine. He runs the Chicago Bulls HQ Discord. Guilty. He asks, I heard Cowley got that sleep. Oh, let me put the real question up. What's the over-under you taking Cowley's ankles in a game of one-on-one? I heard Cowley's got that sleeper build that out of the gym range. So, can you answer Mr. Guilty's question? Who do you got on one-on-one?
His build is what it is. He's 60. He's short as hell. He's a frail dude. Like, sleeper build is kind of crazy. I've never seen him shoot a basketball, so I don't know what the jumper looks like. Over under on taking his ankles. I'm kind of like a Josh Giddey ball handler. I rely on positioning the angles myself. I would take Cowley's ankles for sure though. Like there's no way. Cowley's at a point where he needs a screen. Like he needs a screen to get downhill, right? Knowing that about his athleticism, like I just know I'm snatching his ankles, like no question. By no means am I like Kyrie or even Dillingham or something like that, relative to Cowley, but I just don't think it would take much. But you'll be surprised. Hey, Cowley be in that hotel gym, man. He goes on an elliptical for like an hour, bro. Like he's kept himself in shape at his age, man.
Man, I'm 37. I need to hit the elliptical even for 10 minutes, man. That man could do an hour. Kudos to him.
It's not. It doesn't seem all that efficient to me. I don't know that it's wise for him to do that. But he's a man of his methods, so I never question him. He is who he is.
Facts.
I'm an athletic trainer. I could tell you it's not that efficient, but hey, he's putting the work in. He's putting the work in. The last Cowley question we got comes from our man Guilty again. This one was on Twitter. He wants to know, how did it feel when you changed Joe Cowley's life by introducing him to Von Off 1700 inspirational work?
It felt great. A lot of me and Cowley's conversations couldn't air on the internet. And so like being able to put him on to like rap, like real rap, he talks about like LL Cool J and shit. Like being able to put him on to like modern rap, like the stuff that's actually being played today, it's very fun for me. Like I like when our cultures clash. Like I always try to put Cowley on to like anything modern. He's very much I don't know if he's technically a boomer, but like there's clearly a generational gap between us, multi-generational gap between us. And so it's just fun as hell hearing him tell stories of Cleveland in the 80s and 90s, and I'm trying to put him on a Von Off 1700. It felt good to change his life. I do it all the time though. Like I don't know how much he could talk to Rob Dillingham without me, so
fair.
All right. I think we got one more question here. This one also is from AD. Get a double dose of AD. And his question is, earlier you said Giddey was a floor raiser. Can Modest be a ceiling raiser?
Absolutely, I think he can. With the projected archetype, he's clearly got the 3-point shot diet down. I mean, this is going to work wonders for him, I imagine, down the line as like a volume 3-point shooter if he needs to be that, which is what Aaron Gordon became. Like I said earlier, development is not linear, right? Like for Aaron Gordon to be a truly great Jokic teammate, like he had to round out as a shooter. It's one thing to like have him in a dunker and have him play off certain coverages and like float around to where Jokic could throw him a lob and stuff like that. Like that part's cool. But like yesterday, I don't know if y'all watched the first quarter, that dude had 19 in the first 7 minutes. And he's getting it in every way possible. He's killing mismatches. He's, they want to go under the screen. He's pulling up for movement threes and like standstill threes, one dribble. So like Modest I imagine this part of Modest's career will help him. Because like you look at floor or ceiling raising traits rather, I think for bigs or like front court guys, a lot of it is stretching the floor. Can you kill mismatches? Like things that make you versatile and able to play next to a bunch of different guys. AG has that. Modest is clearly working on the 3-point shot. He'll need shot versatility to me. Like AG, if he had to shoot a midi, he could. I don't know. It's clearly not their best shot in their offense. But like when a possession dies down, like that's what it comes down to, right? Shot versatility. So the 3-point shot, I'm not worried about Modest on that front. The mismatch part, he's a little ways away from, like killing smaller guys, killing guys his size in the half court. Like I think next year this will be important, like finding ways to work his athleticism into the game in the half court and not just in transition and not just when he like backdoors somebody, like finding a guy too, like, you know, maybe they need another playmaker. I mean, the Thunder, what works for them is they don't just, I mean, Shea's become such a great playmaker and knowing when to get off the ball, but Hardenstein is like an incredibly great big man playmaker. Like maybe they need a big playmaker, right? They can help put Modest in those positions. That being said, like he's already got the shot 3-point volume down to potentially be like a AG level, not AG level because AG is great, but like AG type of ceiling raiser. I absolutely think he could be that type for sure.
Love it.
So we actually got 2 other questions here, Sal. They came on Twitter little later here. They're both broader NBA questions, so I'm just going to combine both of them here. So the first one's from our boy Samity. Shout out Samity, one of the best dudes on Twitter, period. He's asking, are there certain skill sets that this is like pertaining to your enjoyment, not critically, just your enjoyment? What skill sets do you look for in a player that you like watching? You know, like two-way ability, shot creation, playmaking. So that's question 1. And then question 2 comes from our boy Aiden. This one's kind of funny. He just wants to know, what's your thoughts on the Luke Cornett Atlanta Strippers situation?
Let's get to that one last. Remind me the first question again. What archetypes do I like?
Yeah, like what kind of players do you like watching? Like when you're watching for enjoyment, what are the type of players you gravitate towards?
Yeah, I don't know that I have a certain player I gravitate towards. I'm an ardent defender of like the ceiling raiser types, like the Alex Caruso's, Pascal Siakam is a ceiling raiser at this point to me. Any two-way stretch big, which is like that's closer to unicorn than common. But like those guys, free Magic City is crazy. I don't know that I have an archetype. Like I do like I like big guard defenders too. That can like I like Steph Castle a lot. Big guys who can run offense to me, like big guards. I mean, like Shea, Steph Castle, Kay Cunningham, like those types. I love watching those types. Other than that, like if you're good at basketball, I usually like watching you play basketball. Like I don't know that I'm like married to certain archetypes. But like I said, ceiling raisers is like a good class for me. I like to decide the criteria for that type of player all the time, like debate the criteria for that. Like Aaron Gordon obviously is the one we've been talking about. I love watching Aaron Gordon. I liked watching Aaron Gordon last night. So that would be my answer to that. As far as Magic City, man, this is a loaded question. So I'll only say so much. What I'll say is I don't know that I can say. I can't get as far as free Magic City. What I can say is it's a weird subject. I'm not gonna talk about like Cornette's beliefs or like, you know, I don't think he's qualified to speak on the subject, but like I'm not saying that I'm necessarily qualified to speak on the subject, but then again, I'm not using my platform to like tell the NBA to, you know, cancel the night. So what I'll say is like, look, like my understanding is like Magic City is probably not something you want to promote at a NBA game where you know families are gonna be there. Like I get it, like I get it, right? But also as far as like Atlanta culture goes and like what's important down there and like the real institutions down there, like people know Magic City is deeply rooted down there. Like you can have your feelings about that, but there's no doubt that's like one of the cultural institutions out there. It's meant so much for their music scene. It's meant so much for a lot down there. And so like, you know, I don't have a strong opinion on it either way. Like I would get why people wouldn't want it to happen. I would get why people feel like, yo, Luke Cornett can't speak on this. So I don't have a strong opinion on it. But like I did think it was funny for as long as it lasted. Like we broke some barriers there for like all of like 2 weeks. It's crazy times in the league, man. A promotional night for Magic City, and then uh, a blog from Luke Cornett got it taken down. We saw a beef. Tyler Parker from the Ringer said this: the weirdest beef of the year was Luke Cornett versus Magic City, man. And I'm glad to be alive to see that.
For sure. Well, then I guess we moving on to Justin, or
Yeah, that was the last question. So now we just close with random bull of the day, and I think you had that one handled, Sal. So who you choosing today?
All right, so we're going to take the spotlight off of Magic City, and we're going to give Cowley some time to ice his ankles. We're going to move away from all these questions. Random Bull of the Day was one of my favorite Bulls players because from the time he got drafted to the time that he left the team, he was my favorite player on the team, and it came on an era where the Bulls were very much regaining their success and reestablishing their presence in the league. So random bull of the day, it's only fit, seeing as though he played for both Chicago and the Thunder, is going to be the fan favorite, Mr. Taj Mahal, Taj Gibson.
Still playing.
Yeah.
Believe that, and he'll be back in Chicago in about a week, man.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about just the career he had and how he impacted Chicago and actually Oklahoma for that matter?
Yeah, I mean those teams were relevant to me, right? Those Bulls teams, like I know we've become such a ring culture has like kind of poisoned the way we enjoy basketball. Man, so many things have poisoned the way we enjoy basketball. Gambling, ring culture, podcasting while we do a podcast, but like the debate level podcasting where we're like we have to debate MVP ladder and best in the world every week. Like so many things have poisoned the way we enjoy the game. And I thought what was very pure about the whole D Rose jersey retirement and those guys coming back was like when they say that was their championship, I mean that was for real their championship. Like the memories they have was their championship. The fact that they had something they can hold on to and look back at was their championship. Which I know that sounds corny, but you have like in comparison championship teams who like teammates, those guys don't even talk to each other no more, right? Or they got, like disdain for each other. So those teams as a young basketball fan had a real special place in my heart. Same as like, the Kobe teams I grew up with. Like they were really enjoyable teams, and Taj, like that archetype is like almost like faded. Like enforcers today don't look the same as they did even 10 years ago, right? So you gotta appreciate Taj, especially like even now, like trying to be back and like just be like the vocal veteran type, which is like the capacity of who he would be at this point. Like there aren't a lot of voices like Taj, man. That's a character right there. So shout out Taj.
Facts.
Do you value that type of player in the locker room? Because it seems like that is going away from the NBA, like the Udonis Haslem role, where you just have an OG in the locker room. I think there's value in that. I've been saying the Bulls should have Taj on the team for that reason for years now. Do you think there's still a place for that in the NBA, or how do you view it?
Yeah, because nobody's playing 15 guys. I don't care how battered you are during the regular season, what it looks like. You want to talk about culture, because I know Billy Donovan's thing is like he wants to instill winning habits in guys. And so that's why, Modest might have a tight leash, or he's not letting them play on ball as much in a certain game. Like you want to establish real culture and real winning habits and ensure that you could, like, even through a tank and like design losing and development, that you still retain, some important qualities. Like you bring a guy like that around to me, or like the guys for the Thunder during their iteration were like Kenrich Williams. Like Kenrich Williams is probably a better player than most of those guys would be in that traditional role. Like Kenrich Williams today would play in a playoff series. Udonis Haslem was not qualified for a playoff series for much of the tail end of his career. But like you need guys like that, man. Like absolutely. I think Taj. I don't know if they even like. I haven't dug around on this. I don't know if they like even considered taking a flyer, or if they even knew Taj was trying to come out of retirement. or not, but well, he wasn't retired. I misspoke there, but like that he was trying to come back to a team. Uh, I would have got in on that. You want to set a
Mhm.
culture? That's a guy who bridges bridges the gap between everything this regime has been and the last team that people really cared about, right? At least for a sustained stretch. So like it would have been productive to me for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course you need guys like that, and I still believe. I think they look different now, and like I think there are like fewer personalities like that in the league now. I don't know. There's probably a deeper conversation to be had about like the way NBA players are being filtered now, and like who comes from where, what NBA players look like now. I don't know, but uh, like I like Dylan Brooks for those reasons. Like he's got a he's got that fire to him, right?
Mhm.
And it's rarer than ever. Obviously, he's not like that type of veteran, but like, yeah, I seriously value those guys. And if I was building the team, I would have made Taj Gibson my 15th man just to give game, just to give guys the ropes, man. Seriously,
Mhm. Most definitely. One of those guys that you hate to play him, but you love him when he's on your team, man,
absolutely, absolutely.
for sure. I think that's all we got today, right, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, we kept you here for damn near 90 minutes, so thanks for sticking it out with us,
Of
man.
course,
We
man.
appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all, man, for sure.
Yeah.
T
Yeah.
Take a second here and plug your socials, let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, they can find me at I'm on Twitter, but I kind of don't want to be on Twitter. Not for like all the like popular reasons, but like it just does nothing for my work anymore. Like
Mm.
I don't even know that people if Twitter is the indicator. Like I don't even know that people know that I cover the Bulls. So like Twitter is like blah, but that's where I am most of the time. So at Joel X Lorenzi. So Joel X Lorenzi. That's my at on there. Or you could just search my name, which is right there on the screen. And then what else am I on? I mean, you could just find my work on the New York Times at the Athletic. So that's what I'm on. That's where you can find me at these days. I tried to do the blue sky thing. I can't do it with all these socials, man. I sound like an old man, but like damn, like to me, like you can't watch these games and cover these teams and be on your phone all the time and be on these social.
Yes.
So find me on Twitter, man, and DM me if y'all ever want to talk Bulls. Like I answer questions in the DM sometimes. Sometimes y'all ask me some crazy stuff that I cannot answer. Like I'm
Magic
generally
City.
easy to reach out to. So not Magic City. I'm down to answer Magic City questions if it come down. People ask me stuff that's like not plausible to answer. So
For
but
sure.
reach out to me,
Sure.
man. Shoot me a DM, whatever. I'm on Twitter for sure.
For sure, man. Again, I'm gonna just speak for myself here when I say, Joe, thank you so much for taking 90 minutes out of your day to come hang out with us, man. I learned so much from you. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna go back and read some of your works and really like anyone who takes time to come and sit down with me and chat basketball, like that's my favorite thing in the world. No matter how like good or bad your team is, whenever you could talk good ball with somebody, that means the world to you, man. It doesn't matter what my team looks like. The conversation and just knowing that much more about somebody else's love for the game, that means the world to me, and I appreciate that for you.
I appreciate that sentiment. I appreciate y'all having me. Seriously, I enjoy talking ball too, and I frankly I could stand to talk more Bulls, even though it's not a great time to do so. I probably want to get a draft guy in here at some point, uh, but yeah, I appreciate y'all having me. Seriously,
For sure, pleasure's ours.
Yeah,
What do you
thanks for
got,
coming
Justin?
on, man. No, that was it. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Been a fan of your work all year long, following the Bulls, and hopefully maybe during the off season we can get you back on here when maybe the Bulls start percolating a little bit and making some more moves that we can maybe be excited about.
yeah, absolutely. Just hit me. You know where to find me.
For sure. Well, in that case, if no one's got anybody else, Bulls Nation, we are tapping out of this episode. Be sure to like this video and give love to On Tap Sport Network. As far as follow Justin, myself, and Joel on all of our socials, and thank you for giving us the platform to address the fans and have this conversation. it really is made better by the fans and the consumers by it. So thank you so much for watching us for the past 90 minutes here. We look forward to seeing you for the next round. We got a game here in a minute, and see Red and go Bulls.
Sal Best. Live when the mic snap. Justin. In the cut, bring the fight back. Windy City talk, turn the dial, that's that. Welcome to the show, it's Bulls on tap. Bulls on tap, pull it up, press play. Chi-Town talk, we can run it all day. From the tip-off buzz to the post-game rap. If you rock with the Bulls, you rock with Bulls.